Hey Reddit, I'm in a bit of a mess right now and I need to get this off my chest. I've been married to my wife, Lisa, for 6 years. We met in college, started out as friends, then it turned into a relationship. It felt perfect. We had everything you'd want in a marriage: laughter, shared dreams, the occasional disagreements that were usually resolved over wine and takeout. We traveled together, supported each other, and built a life that, to me, seemed like it was heading in the right direction. But then, about a year ago, I started to notice subtle changes. At first, I thought it was nothing. People go through phases, right? Lisa started spending more time, working late, and going to the gym more often, which was weird because she's never been that into working out. She became more distant, didn't want to hang out as much, and I caught her being unusually secretive with her phone. Little things. Then she started having late-night girls' nights, which didn't add up because she always told me she didn't have many close friends. I tried to brush it off, maybe it was just stress, but it didn't sit right with me. Something was changing, and I wasn't blind to it. It was like I was losing her, but I couldn't figure out why. So here's where it gets a little more intense. I wasn't just imagining things. I knew it. The tipping point came a couple of weeks ago. One night, Lisa was out with her friends again, and I was home scrolling through the usual stuff on my phone. I'd been feeling uneasy for days, like I was walking around with a pit in my stomach. You know when something doesn't feel right, but you can't put your finger on it? That's where I was at. Anyway, I got a notification on my phone about a new email from a company we both get notifications from. We had this shared subscription thing. So, like a dumbass, I clicked on it. Nothing strange, just a reminder about something we'd already discussed. But then I noticed something weird. Lisa's email was logged in on the device I was using. It was like her inbox was just sitting there, wide open. I wasn't looking for anything, but when I saw the name of the sender, I froze. It was from a guy named Mark. I had no idea who he was. Now, let me stop here and say, I didn't go snooping intentionally. I swear. But once I saw that name, something inside me twisted. I clicked on the email. It was casual at first, talking about plans to catch up and can't wait for our next night together. And that's when it hit me. My mind was racing. I tried to brush it off, told myself it was some sort of misunderstanding, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. I didn't waste any time. I had to know. I was a mess inside, my heart pounding, but I couldn't let it slide. The next evening, when Lisa got back home, I didn't even let her get through the door before I spoke up. "Who's Mark?" I asked, keeping my voice as calm as I could manage, but I'm sure she could hear the anger underneath. Her face froze for a second. The color drained from her cheeks, but only for a split second. Then she put on this fake smile and shrugged it off like it was nothing. "Mark? Oh, that's just a guy I met at the gym. We were talking about workouts. Nothing special." I didn't buy it. Not for a second. I didn't say anything at first, just stared at her, waiting for her to keep talking, to say something more convincing. But she didn't. She tried to change the subject, asked if I wanted to go get dinner or something, but I wasn't letting her get away with it. "Don't lie to me," I said, my voice shaking. "I know you're seeing someone else. Don't you dare act like I don't know." Her eyes went wide for a moment, but she quickly composed herself. "What are you talking about? What do you think you're accusing me of?" "I'm not cheating on you," she snapped, raising her voice. She was defensive, almost too defensive, and I could see the cracks in her story. I pulled out my phone and showed her the email from Mark. Her expression shifted from feigned confusion to a kind of anger I hadn't seen in a long time. "Where did you get that?" she hissed. "Why would you go through my stuff?" I told her I wasn't going to play games anymore. I asked her point blank if she'd been sleeping with him. And then the lies started pouring out. "Mark is just a friend. Nothing happened. You're being paranoid." "I can't believe you'd accuse me like this," she said, her tone dripping with frustration. But her eyes betrayed her. The way she avoided looking directly at me, the way her hands shook slightly. It was all there. It was like a slow-motion train wreck. I could feel myself unraveling, but I couldn't look away from the wreckage she was trying to hide. "How's it going so far? Let me know if you want to keep going." I didn't know what I was supposed to feel. There was this rush of emotions: shock, rage, disbelief, all blending together like a cocktail of chaos. In that moment, everything I thought I knew about my wife, our marriage, and the life we built together felt like it was falling apart in front of me. I was angry, yeah, but there was something else too, a deep, aching sadness. How could she do this? How could she betray me like this? I thought we had something real, something solid. We had talked about our future together, shared all our hopes, built plans, even talked about having kids one day. And now she was looking me in the eyes and lying through her teeth. I didn't know what to say, so I just stood there. I stared at her, trying to make sense of everything, but my thoughts were a mess. My mind kept going back to those small signs I ignored, the gym sessions, the late nights, the secrecy. All the times she said nothing was wrong, and now I realized it had been wrong all along. She stood there too, arms crossed, her posture defensive. "Why don't you trust me?" she demanded. "You're always so controlling. You never let me have my own space." She flipped it on me like it was my fault, like I was the crazy one for suspecting something. But in that moment, I wasn't the one who needed to justify anything. She was. I could feel my fists clenching. But I didn't want to lose control. I didn't want to lash out. All I wanted was the truth. And even when I got it, it wasn't enough. "I'm not going to argue with you," I finally said, my voice quieter now, but still shaking. "I just want to know if it's true. Are you seeing him? Have you been sleeping with him?" Lisa's face twisted with anger. She didn't answer me right away, and in that silence, I could already hear everything I needed to know. She wasn't sorry. She wasn't even close to being sorry. She looked at me and sighed, almost like I was the inconvenience in her life. "Fine, yes, I'm seeing him. But it's not what you think. It's complicated," she said, brushing her hair back like it was just another trivial thing. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw something, to break something, to get out of this nightmare. But instead, I just stood there, staring at her, knowing that nothing would ever be the same again. That was it. That was the moment everything changed. I could feel it in the pit of my stomach, the weight of what she had just admitted. I wasn't even angry anymore, not the way I was earlier. I was numb. All I could hear was the ringing in my ears, the pounding of my heart. I didn't know what to say. What was there to say? The silence stretched on between us, and I felt like I was drowning in it. She stood there, arms crossed, staring at me with this expression that I couldn't place. Was it guilt? Or was it just annoyance that I caught her? I couldn't tell. But what I did know was that everything I had built with her, the trust, the connection, was gone. Why was all I could manage to ask. Lisa didn't seem fazed. She wasn't even apologetic. "It just happened, okay? We've been distant for so long. I was lonely, and Mark, he made me feel seen again." Her voice softened, but not out of remorse. It was more like she was trying to explain herself, like this was just something I should understand. Like she was the victim in this situation. I could barely process her words. How could she say that? How could she minimize everything we had, everything I had given her, just because she was lonely? And to make it worse, she didn't even seem to be taking responsibility. It was like I was supposed to just accept it and move on. I stepped back, running a hand through my hair. I needed space. I needed time to think. "I don't know what to do with this. I don't know if I can forgive you," I said, the words feeling foreign on my tongue. Lisa sighed again, exasperated. "You're going to act like this? After all we've been through," she said, her voice rising. "I didn't ask for this. It just happened. So, what now? Are you going to throw away everything because of one mistake?" One mistake. It hit me like a punch in the gut. She saw it as a mistake, something small, something she could sweep under the rug. But for me, it was everything. It wasn't just a mistake, it was a betrayal. And in that moment, I had to decide what I was going to do with that. I needed to make a decision, and I knew I couldn't stay in this limbo. As much as it hurt, I couldn't ignore the fact that she was willing to lie and cheat without any real remorse. I couldn't keep pretending like everything was fine. I think I need some time," I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can stay in this marriage anymore, Lisa. I can't live like this." I turned to leave the room, feeling the weight of my words settle on my shoulders like a boulder. The door slammed behind me, and I didn't look back. It's been a few days since that night. Honestly, I'm still processing everything. I've been staying at a friend's place while I try to figure out what to do next. I had no idea how much I'd be affected by this, but now I can't stop thinking about it. It's like the pieces of my life are scattered all over the place, and I'm just trying to put them back together, but I don't even know if I want the same picture anymore. I've spent hours just lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, every conversation. I'm angry, but more than that, I'm sad. I keep thinking about how she could have done this to me after everything we shared. After all the years of trust. I think about our first date, the way she used to look at me like I was her everything. I think about how she used to hold my hand when we went for walks, how we'd talk about the future, about kids, about dreams we had. All those moments feel like they happened in another lifetime. But now, none of it matters. It feels like the love we had was a lie, something that was just part of the illusion she built up to keep me in the dark. I've been asking myself if I should try to fix this. Can I? Should I? Some part of me wants to forgive her. I know I've made mistakes too. Relationships aren't perfect. But this is different. It's one thing to fight through problems together. It's another thing entirely when your partner betrays you like this without even showing real regret. I think about what she said, "It just happened." That phrase keeps echoing in my head. She didn't think about me. She didn't think about us. She didn't stop for a second to consider how her actions would affect me. She just did what she wanted. And now I'm left with this mess. The hardest part? Letting go of the person I thought she was. The person I loved, the person I trusted. It's like I've been mourning a death, but the person who's gone is still physically here. And that's the hardest part, the part where I have to choose between holding on to a ghost and accepting the reality in front of me. So, for now, I'm taking it day by day. I'm not making any decisions yet. But I know that things can't go back to what they were. The days are starting to blur together now. I've had some time to think, really think, about what happened and what I want moving forward. I can't stop feeling like I'm in this strange in-between place, like I'm stuck between the man I was when I first found out about the affair and the man I'm becoming as I try to process everything. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection, which, frankly, feels like both a blessing and a curse. I've spent a lot of time thinking about how I got here, wondering where I went wrong. Was I not enough for her? Was I too busy? Did I take her for granted? It's hard not to question myself when all of this is still so fresh. And as much as I want to blame her entirely, there's this nagging voice in the back of my head that tells me I could have done things differently too. But then I remind myself none of this is my fault. I didn't choose for her to betray me. She made those decisions. And I can't keep punishing myself for something I didn't cause. I have to accept that. I've also realized that no matter how much time I spend looking back, trying to find answers or reasons for her actions, I can't change what happened. The past is the past. The only thing I can control now is how I move forward. And right now, the thought of going back to her feels impossible. Even if I wanted to try to rebuild this, I don't know if I could ever trust her again. That's the hard part. I've talked to some of my close friends about all of this. The reactions vary. Some say I should cut ties and leave her, others think I should give her a second chance, that people make mistakes. But I'm not sure what's right. I think deep down, I know what I have to do. But I'm scared. I'm scared of making the wrong choice, of living with regret, of letting go of the life I thought I had. I still feel this pull, this longing for things to go back to normal, to have her in my life again. But I'm realizing that I have to let that go. She's not the person I thought she was, and I'm not the same person I was when this all began. Things have changed. And they may never go back to what they were. So, I'm starting to focus on myself more. I've been hitting the gym more, picking up old hobbies, trying to reconnect with who I am outside of this marriage. I'm not completely healed, I don't even know if I'll ever fully heal, but I'm trying to make progress. I have to take care of myself first, before I can even think about taking care of anything else. And while I don't know what my next step will be, I do know that whatever decision I make, it has to come from a place of strength, not desperation. I can't keep holding on to someone who's already let me go. It's been almost 2 weeks since I last saw Lisa. I've been staying at my friend's house, trying to give myself the space I needed to think, but I've been avoiding talking to her. I don't know what it is, but the thought of speaking to her right now makes my stomach turn. I don't want to hear more lies or excuses, and I'm terrified that if I let her back into my life even a little, I'll fall back into the same cycle of forgiveness and disappointment. But then, last night, I got a text from her. Can we talk? It was simple, short, and to the point. I didn't know what to do. I stared at the message for what felt like hours, debating whether or not to respond. Part of me wanted to ignore it, to just leave it unanswered. But then another part of me, the part that still loved her, wanted to give her one last chance to explain herself. Or maybe, more honestly, I just wanted closure. So I replied, "What do you want to talk about?" She texted back almost immediately. "I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. And I know I don't deserve it. But can we please have a conversation in person? I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. But I was still so lost. I needed to hear her say something. Anything. That could make me feel like the person I loved was still in there. Or at least that she regretted what she had done. We agreed to meet at a cafe near my place. When I walked in, she was already there, sitting in a corner booth, looking smaller than I remembered. She looked tired. She wasn't wearing makeup, her hair was messy, and there was a sort of emptiness in her eyes that made my heart ache in a way I didn't expect. But I wasn't fooled. I wasn't going to let myself fall for her act again. I sat down across from her, and for a moment, neither of us said anything. There was a tension in the air, thick and uncomfortable. Finally, she spoke. "I'm so sorry," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I've been thinking about everything, and I regret it. I really do. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the words she said didn't match the pain she caused. She could apologize all she wanted, but the trust was gone. The person I thought she was, the woman I married, felt like a stranger now. Lisa, I don't know what to say to that. I don't know if I can forgive you. I can't just pretend like everything's fine, I replied, my voice rough. She looked down at the table, avoiding my gaze. I know, and I don't expect you to forgive me right away. I just want you to know how sorry I am for what I did. I never meant to hurt you. It just happened. I messed up. And there it was again. It just happened. Those words were so easy for her to say. But to me, they were meaningless. I wanted to tell her that I wasn't sure if I could ever look at her the same way again. I wanted to tell her that I was done. But I didn't. Instead, I just sat there, letting the silence take over, feeling the weight of everything that had happened between us. After that meeting, I couldn't stop thinking about what Lisa said. Part of me wanted to believe her. The old me, the one who had loved her so completely, was clinging to those words, hoping she was sincere, hoping she really was sorry. But another part of me knew better. I couldn't just forgive her because she was sad and regretful. I had to protect myself. I spent the next few days in a haze, unsure of what my next move should be. She kept texting me, apologizing, asking if we could talk more, but I just couldn't bring myself to respond in a way that felt honest. I wasn't angry anymore, not like I was when I first found out. The anger had faded, replaced by this deep exhaustion, a kind of soul weariness I wasn't prepared for. It felt like I'd been fighting a battle with no clear end, and I was losing the strength to keep going. I realized I was at a crossroads. Do I try to rebuild this? Do I give her another chance, even though I don't know if I can trust her again? Or do I walk away for good and start over? I talked to my closest friends about it. Some of them, the ones who hadn't been through this kind of thing, said things like, maybe she deserves a second chance, or people make mistakes. But my best friend, Dave, who's been through his own share of relationship drama, gave it to me straight. You have to decide if you can ever trust her again, he said, his voice low. Because if you can't, then you're just going to keep hurting yourself. You deserve more than that. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know if I could trust her again. And that was the hardest part. It wasn't about what she had done, it was about how I felt when I looked at her now. How everything about our relationship felt tainted. How the love I thought we shared now felt like a lie. I realized that no matter how much she apologized, no matter how much she said she regretted it, I couldn't erase what she had done. I couldn't forget that feeling of being blindsided, of trusting her completely and having that trust shattered. So I made a decision. I told her that I needed space, that I needed to figure out what I wanted. I wasn't ready to make a final decision yet, but I needed to step back from the marriage and clear my head. It felt like the right thing to do, but it also felt terrifying. What if I was making a huge mistake? What if, in time, I regretted not giving her another chance? But deep down, I knew I had to put myself first for once. I couldn't keep living in the shadow of her betrayal. It's been another week since I told Lisa I needed space. She hasn't stopped texting me, asking for a chance to talk, asking if we can try to work things out. Part of me still feels guilty about it. I keep thinking about her sitting alone, waiting for me to come back, and I wonder if I'm being too harsh, too cold. But then I remind myself of everything she's done. I remind myself that this isn't just about my pain, it's about the fact that I deserve better than this. There's this constant war inside my head. One part of me still misses her, still wants things to go back to the way they were. The other part is telling me to never look back, that I'm better off alone than living with the betrayal that's been hanging over us. The hardest part? It's that I'm not sure who I am anymore. I've been spending a lot of time on my own, focusing on myself, trying to rediscover the person I was before all this happened. It's not easy. I've been trying to go to the gym more, even though sometimes it feels like it takes all the energy I have just to get out of bed. But I'm doing it. I'm trying to rebuild my life, piece by piece. One night, I found myself going through old photos of Lisa and me, of our trips together, the times we laughed until we cried, the moments I thought were perfect. I almost let myself get caught up in those memories, almost let myself believe that we could go back to being that happy couple. But then I stopped myself. I had to, because no matter how much I miss those moments, I can't ignore the reality of what's happened. I can't pretend like things didn't change. I keep thinking about the future, about what life could look like without her. It's scary, but it's also kind of freeing. I don't know if I'll ever fully trust again. I don't know if I can ever go back to being the person I was with her. But I do know that I have to take control of my life again. I haven't talked to Lisa in a few days. I think she's starting to get the message that I need time. but it's killing me inside. I feel like I'm on the verge of losing everything I knew, the life we built, the dreams we shared. But I can't keep living in a lie, and I can't keep pretending everything is okay when it's not. It's hard. Really hard. But I'm starting to realize that I need to trust myself more than I trust her. Part 11, the final conversation. A few more days went by, and I thought I had finally made peace with my decision. I was focusing on myself, working on finding some clarity, and it felt like I was slowly starting to regain control. But as it often happens in situations like these, life had other plans. I was sitting in my living room scrolling through my phone when I saw her name pop up on the screen. Lisa had called me. At first, I didn't pick up. I didn't want to. But after a moment, I realized that avoiding her forever wasn't going to give me the closure I needed. I needed to hear her voice one last time, even if it hurt. I called her back. "Hello?" I said, my voice quieter than I expected. I didn't want to sound defeated. I didn't want to sound like I was still waiting for her to fix things. "Hey," her voice was soft, hesitant. "I've been thinking about everything we've been through. I don't expect you to forgive me, I don't. But I miss you. And I want you to know that I'm sorry. Really." Her words hung in the air, and I could hear the rawness in her voice. But something about it felt empty. Like she was trying so hard to sound sincere, but I wasn't sure if she was actually sorry for what she did or if she was just sorry that she got caught. "Lisa," I started, "you hurt me. You betrayed me. And it's not something I can just forget. It's not something that goes away. I can't just go back to being the person I was before this." "I know," she whispered. "I don't expect that. But I love you. And I'm not asking for you to just forgive me and move on. I just want you to know how sorry I am. I was stupid and I don't know how to fix it." There it was again. I was stupid. That's what she kept saying. But to me, it wasn't about her being stupid. It was about her not valuing me enough to tell me the truth, to be honest with me. It was about her choosing to lie and cheat even after everything we'd been through. A few more days went by, and I thought I had finally made peace with my decision. I was focusing on myself, working on finding some clarity, and it felt like I was slowly starting to regain control. But as it often happens in situations like these, life had other plans. I was sitting in my living room scrolling through my phone when I saw her name pop up on the screen. Lisa had called me. At first, I didn't pick up. I didn't want to. But after a moment, I realized that avoiding her forever wasn't going to give me the closure I needed. I needed to hear her voice one last time, even if it hurt. I called her back. "Hello?" I said, my voice quieter than I expected. I didn't want to sound defeated. I didn't want to sound like I was still waiting for her to fix things. "Hey," her voice was soft, hesitant. "I've been thinking about everything we've been through. I don't expect you to forgive me, I don't. But I miss you. And I want you to know that I'm sorry. Really." Her words hung in the air, and I could hear the rawness in her voice. But something about it felt empty. Like she was trying so hard to sound sincere, but I wasn't sure if she was actually sorry for what she did or if she was just sorry that she got caught. "Lisa," I started, "you hurt me. You betrayed me. And it's not something I can just forget. It's not something that goes away. I can't just go back to being the person I was before this." "I know," she whispered. "I don't expect that. But I love you. And I'm not asking for you to just forgive me and move on. I just want you to know how sorry I am. I was stupid and I don't know how to fix it." There it was again. I was stupid. That's what she kept saying. But to me, it wasn't about her being stupid. It was about her not valuing me enough to tell me the truth, to be honest with me. It was about her choosing to lie and cheat even after everything we'd been through. I took a deep breath. I don't know what's going to happen between us. But I do know one thing, I can't keep living in this place of uncertainty. I can't keep waiting for you to change. I've been doing that for too long. I need to focus on me now. There was a long silence on the other end. I could almost hear her trying to find the right words, but nothing came. And honestly, I didn't need her words anymore. I had to stop waiting for her to fix something she broke. "I think it's over," I said quietly but firmly. "I understand," she replied, her voice breaking. But there was no turning back. The days following that conversation felt like an emotional roller coaster, but also, in a strange way, like a weight was lifting off my shoulders. Saying those words out loud, "I think it's over," felt like finally stepping out of a fog I'd been living in for months. It wasn't easy. It wasn't peaceful. But it felt like the first step toward regaining control of my life. The hardest part, though, was dealing with the emptiness that followed. I came home to an apartment that felt too quiet, too still. There were reminders of Lisa everywhere, pictures of us on the walls, the little trinkets we had bought on our travels, the smell of her perfume lingering in the bathroom. It was like every corner of the space I once called home was a ghost of what it used to be. I spent the first few days in a daze, cleaning, organizing, trying to distract myself from the emotional chaos inside my head. I wasn't crying. I wasn't angry. I was just numb. I had to be. I had to focus on surviving, on moving through the day without getting lost in my feelings. I deleted her contact from my phone, blocked her on social media. I wasn't doing it out of spite. I did it because I knew that every time I saw her name or thought about her, I'd be pulled back into the mess. I had to give myself space. I had to stop torturing myself with what could have been. But even as I was trying to rebuild my life, there were moments when I thought about her, about what we had, about the good times. I wondered if I made the right choice. Maybe she could change. Maybe I was throwing away the best thing I had. But every time those thoughts crept in, I reminded myself of why I had to let go. It wasn't just the affair. It was the lies, the deception, the fact that she was willing to hurt me without a second thought. It was the way she had checked out emotionally long before I even realized. And that's what hurt the most, that I had loved someone who wasn't really there anymore. Slowly, I started reaching out to friends I hadn't talked to in a while. I spent time with people who cared about me, who didn't expect anything from me except for my presence. That helped. I even went back to my old hobbies. I signed up for a photography class, something I hadn't done since before the marriage. It felt good to do something just for myself, something that had nothing to do with her or our past. But even as I began to find myself again, there were still nights when I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made the right decision. Was I too quick to give up on us? Would things have been different if I had tried harder to fix things? But no matter how many times I asked myself those questions, deep down, I knew the truth. I knew that this was the only choice that would give me the peace I needed. It's been almost a month since the breakup, and things have been steadily improving, or at least I like to think they are. I've been going through the motions, finding new routines, rediscovering parts of myself that had been lost. It hasn't been easy, but it's been necessary. I've been working hard to fill the space she left behind with healthier distractions, time with friends, time focusing on my career, and just trying to move on. But life, as it always does, has a way of throwing curveballs. I was grabbing a coffee at a cafe near my place when I saw her. Lisa. I didn't expect it. I wasn't prepared for it. At first, I thought I was imagining things. I saw her sitting by the window, looking out deep in thought, and for a second, my heart skipped a beat. I didn't want to go up to her. I didn't want to engage. But as I stood there, my feet rooted to the spot, I realized I wasn't going to be able to leave without at least acknowledging her. I couldn't just pretend like I hadn't seen her, like I hadn't spent 6 years of my life with this woman. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just numb. So I took a deep breath and walked over. She noticed me before I reached the table, and when our eyes met, I saw something I wasn't expecting: vulnerability. It wasn't the cold indifference I had seen before, nor the defensive anger. It was raw, unguarded, and a little broken. "Hey," I said quietly. I wasn't sure what I expected. I thought I'd be furious, maybe lash out, but I wasn't. I wasn't sure what I was feeling, to be honest. "Hi," she said, her voice softer than I remembered. She seemed surprised to see me, but she didn't look away. There was no tension in her posture, no attempt to avoid me, just resignation. I stood there for a moment before sitting down across from her. Neither of us spoke at first. She just looked at me like she was waiting for me to say something, but what could I say? After everything, what was there left to say? "You look good," she finally said, breaking the silence. I didn't know how to respond. I didn't want to sound dismissive or mean, but I didn't want to pretend things were fine either. So I simply nodded. "You too," I said, not really meaning it, but not wanting to make it awkward. We sat there for a while, the air thick with all the things we couldn't say. I kept wondering why she was here. What did she want from this conversation? Was she expecting me to forgive her just like that, to welcome her back into my life with open arms? "I'm sorry for everything," she said, her voice a little shaky. "For everything I did. For the way I treated you. I was selfish and I hurt you, and I can't take that back." The words felt familiar, too familiar. She had apologized before, over and over, but it didn't mean anything to me anymore. I had heard them too many times. The sincerity in her voice was there, but I didn't know if it was real. I didn't know if anything she said was real anymore. "I know," I replied, my voice flat. "I know you're sorry, Lisa. But I can't forget what happened. I can't forget how you treated me. You hurt me, and I don't know if I can ever come back from that." She looked down at her hands, tears welling in her eyes. But I didn't feel any sympathy. I didn't feel angry either. I just felt empty. It was as if the emotions I had once reserved for her had been drained away over the last few weeks. She was a part of my past, but I wasn't sure I could ever let her back into my future. I understand, she whispered. I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry, and I'll always love you. And that was it. The moment that I thought might bring closure just left me with more questions than answers. The love she spoke of didn't feel the same anymore. It didn't feel like something I could hold on to. I stood up, said goodbye, and walked away without looking back. I didn't know if I'd see her again, and honestly, I wasn't sure if I cared. After that encounter, I thought it would be harder. I thought it would stir up all the old feelings, the anger, the betrayal, the longing. But it didn't. It felt like a chapter closing, something I couldn't rewind, no matter how much I might have wanted to. For the first time, I truly felt like I was moving on. That meeting with Lisa, as painful as it was, gave me the clarity I needed. It's funny, isn't it? How you can love someone so deeply and then, one day, wake up to realize that love is no longer enough to hold you together. That's how I felt. Like the love we once shared had been replaced by something else. Something more practical, more honest, and a lot less painful. I've started to rebuild my life piece by piece. I've been focusing on work, diving into projects that excite me, and spending time with people who actually care about me. I've even started going to therapy. I realized I couldn't just carry around this baggage from my past forever. I needed to heal, and I needed to understand myself better, especially the part of me that let things go on for so long without confronting the truth. In therapy, I've learned to embrace the discomfort. It's okay to feel lost. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to not have all the answers right away. And the more I've worked on myself, the clearer it's become that I made the right choice. I'm not saying that letting go was easy, but I know it was necessary. I've met new people. Nothing serious, just friendly interactions, but it feels good to connect with others again. I've realized that I don't need someone else to complete me, to make me feel whole. I can do that myself. I can learn to love and respect myself again. Something I'd lost sight of while trying to salvage a relationship that no longer fit who I am. I've started doing things I haven't done in years. Hiking, cooking meals for myself, watching movies without worrying about anyone else's opinion. It's like I've rediscovered the joy of living for myself, not for someone else. The weight of the past is still there, but it's becoming lighter every day. As for Lisa, I've stopped wondering if I made a mistake. The past is done. There's no turning back to that version of myself, to that version of us. I've accepted it, and I've accepted that I deserve someone who will love me the way I love them, without lies, without betrayal. The truth is, I'm not angry anymore. I don't need to be. I'm just moving forward. It's been several months since I walked away from Lisa, and I've finally reached a point where I can look back without the crushing weight of pain. The healing has been slow, but steady. I don't think healing is something that happens in one grand moment. It's a process. It's about learning to breathe again, about rediscovering who you are without the shadows of betrayal hanging over you. And now I can honestly say that I'm in a better place. I'm not going to lie. Some days are harder than others. There are times when I catch myself thinking about what could have been, about the life we were supposed to build together. And there are moments when I feel that old longing for what we lost. But I've learned to sit with those feelings instead of running away from them. I've learned that it's okay to mourn, but it's also okay to let go. I've started dating again, but it's different this time. I'm not rushing into anything. I'm not looking for someone to fix me or fill the hole that Lisa left. I'm just meeting people, enjoying their company, and learning to trust again. Slowly. But most importantly, I'm enjoying the freedom to be myself, without feeling like I have to live up to anyone else's expectations. There are still moments when I think about Lisa, especially when I'm in places that remind me of our time together. But I don't let those moments define me anymore. They're just moments, fleeting and passing. I've learned that I am not my past mistakes, and I am not defined by someone else's actions. I am who I choose to be now. And right now, I choose to be someone who is learning, growing, and moving forward. In therapy, I've come to realize that I am not the man I was when I married Lisa. I've grown. I've become someone stronger, someone who values his own worth more than ever before. I've learned that the most important relationship is the one I have with myself, and that it's okay to put my own needs first for once. I've also learned to forgive, not for Lisa's sake, but for my own. Holding on to anger doesn't change anything. It only keeps you stuck in the past. And as much as she hurt me, I know that my peace doesn't come from her apology or from fixing what was broken. It comes from me letting go, from finding peace in the present. As I look toward the future, I feel hopeful. There's so much more ahead of me, so many possibilities, so many adventures. I've learned that life doesn't always go as planned, but that doesn't mean it's not worth living. And this time, I'm living it for me.